Hey, everybody, your designers are here.
I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at My Soulful Home. And we have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today. So let's get started.
Today is episode 141, Decorating Misconceptions Debunked.
I love that.
I do too. There's so many people that are afraid to decorate or tentative, or they say, I can't do this because, and today we're going to debunk all that for you.
I love debunking. Whenever I can debunk, I'm all for a debunk. Yeah. Now, usually I go along. I usually don't debunk, but today, let's debunk. I mean, we want to clear the air. We don't want anybody living under myths or false
under the yoke of misconceptions.
Impression.
Oh my goodness.
Carrying the weight of decor misconception around with you is unworthy of our people.
Let's start our debunking.
Yes.
If I'm going to ask you, what decorating thing did you believe that was debunked? And you were like, oh, what?
Oh, I have one.
Okay.
That we talk about a lot, but I thought all the wood tones in the room had to be exactly the same. And if it was off just a little bit, it was a big bomb, a big no-no.
Wow.
And
what
now,
did you come to find out, Anita?
Well, first off, that's not true. I mean, it's just not true.
Do we have like a button or something?
Well,
that does
we got to
that?
get one. I don't have
that.
one.
If it's okay, I can just make that sound because I have I've got this 2-week cold, so I can make a good sound.
Okay, great.
I don't know if we're going to be how we're going to feel at the end of the episode.
Oh, you'll love it.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
so that was something I learned. And it adds so much interest to the room when they are not exactly the same. And the only way to really get them exactly the same is to buy everything matchy-matchy. And we all know that's really something that we highly recommend against.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's a no. All right. How about you, Kelly? Did you believe a decorating sort of rule that when you found out it was debunked,
I think a lot
shocked?
of these things are just, sort of one person says it, another person says it, and then somebody at a magazine picks up on it, and all of a sudden, this is what it is. But if you really take some of these things apart, they might have a modicum of sense to them, but really in reality, they don't. And one that seems to be pretty prevalent is that if you paint a room dark, it's going to look smaller. And that is not true. Dark colors, actually, it's scientific that dark colors recede. Okay. And light colors advance. So that's not a decorating thing. That's like a science thing, So if you paint a room a dark color, it actually sort of looks like the wall is, you see that it's there, but it's pulling away from you. I had this experience, not even inside, but with a fence. When we moved into our house before this one in San Marino, the fence was white in the back, and the bushes were growing, but they weren't very big. And when you looked out at the backyard, and our yard was not very big, you saw this white fence. You couldn't get away from it. It was like, that's where it stops. That's the end of this yard. Gee, it's not very big, And so I painted the fence, and I wasn't really thinking about making it necessarily recede. I was just kind of wanting it to blend in with more of the natural colors. So I didn't want to go green. So I went with this dark musket brown. And all of a sudden, it receded. It went back. It went away from me.
That makes a lot of sense.
And so that happens inside too.
It wasn't so obvious to your eye, and it wasn't glaring.
Right. Well, it's because white comes towards you. Light colors. Well,
it wasn't a contrast.
Dark colors go away
with the greenery around it. Yeah.
Right.
Dark colored walls are very dramatic.
They are very dramatic. So let me just finish on this thought. So then people to the next step. Well, then why, if you paint your walls and your ceiling all white, your room's going to feel bigger? Well, not necessarily. If you paint a very big room all white and whatnot, or a very small room white, the white is still going to sort of advance towards you. So the actual wall itself might appear bigger, but it's not going to make the room feel bigger. It'll be light and airy, but the light color comes towards you. So it's not necessarily going to make a small room feel bigger in square footage. It'll have a lighter, airier look to it, but it's not going to make it feel and live like a bigger room.
Wow.
Interesting.
She even gave us scientific proof. I like that.
She blinded me with science.
my debunked misconception was that dark ceilings make a room look closed in. That is not correct.
That is not correct.
No,
well, it's the same. I guess it's the same philosophy here.
But I would say if you have a very long room, that might be something that I would keep it light. I do like white ceilings. I just do. But here's a way that you could make it look fresh. Try to put crown molding with it.
Yeah.
White crown molding. How pretty is that?
Oh,
yeah. And
like
the dark with the white, and that is such the big chunky white molding, that is such a sharp look.
It is a sharp look. Now, I don't know that it just doesn't suit my style. Maybe a bedroom would be gorgeous, but all I keep thinking about is your beautiful metallic ceiling in one of your bedrooms, Kelly.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It's fantastic. And it does not make it feel like the ceiling's coming down or you have to duck to go into the room at all.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And actually, we'll be talking about this, I think, into the new year, but I'm going to do that someplace else in my house.
Ooh.
I'm excited.
Okay. So I have another one that I hear all the time. Still, painting an antique piece of furniture devalues it.
No.
This is widely believed that,
unless
but the
you're
answer
going
is not,
to go
Can
to
we
auction.
say painting? Can we say painting a vintage piece?
No.
If you have a really expensive antique, leave it.
No, I'm not. I haven't qualified it. I mean, there are qualifiers, obviously.
Yes.
If it's museum quality, obviously you can't paint it, or it will devalue the value of the piece. The deal is most pieces of furniture are not really worth a lot of money, and the value of antiques has gone down quite a bit. So we are not talking about an expensive antique piece, and even if you paid a lot of money for your antique piece, I'm going to say it's probably not worth what you paid for it.
I so agree with that.
Antique prices have gone way down, and there's a lot of antique stain colors that are no longer in style. And if you tried to sell it as is right now, you'd have a hard time selling it for anything if the stain is dated. Whereas if you paint it with a color that is a now color, you can probably sell it for a lot more money. So
I would say if it belongs in a museum, don't touch it.
Yes.
Or
absolutely.
if you're not sure, have it appraised. But I think you're saying, I'm safe in saying vintage furniture.
Well, even a lot of
can be painted.
Vintage, of course, is probably not worth much, but a lot of antique furniture, it's just not worth. It's not worth. It doesn't have the money value that it had 10 or 20 years ago.
That's true. You're very
I mean,
right.
which is sad, but it's the case. So it's not like you're losing a lot of money.
Yeah. And
you're probably not losing any.
Especially if you love the piece but don't like the finish, go have it appraised. And if it's not worth it and you think you would like to keep it, paint it. I agree with you. That's a good one.
Yeah. And it's the value to you. You know, it was, if it's going to make you happy, paint it. Right? I mean, Anita, what were you talking about that one time about the French something, and it was painted black and it was actually worth more because they were painting it during Bastille Day or something like that?
Well, the Louis Philippe mirror, I bought a Louis Philippe mirror and it was really inexpensive and it had been painted black. And I thought, and it was this really gummy black paint. And I thought, why would somebody paint this gorgeous antique, this hideous black color? Because I felt like it really devalued the piece, well, it turns out it was painted black during the reign of Napoleon III. When he lost Alsace, they painted all these pieces black. So that
So it
actually
had
meant
historical value.
so the black was not original, but the
Mhm.
black was from the 1840s. So yeah, that's a little different.
there you
Although
go.
I did paint over the black a little bit with a little bit of, because I really couldn't stand it.
Oh,
I
my.
couldn't stand the black, but I painted it before I did a little research. So there you go.
Mhm. So you knew. Here's one that this is like my mantra. Some people believe, and I bet you quite a few, that once you decorate a room or your house, it's done.
Well, if you're listening to this, that's probably not you.
But, well, maybe yes, maybe no. But you're decorating a house is never done. Think of it like your wardrobe. You wouldn't wear things that most of us wouldn't wear, except maybe a little black dress or something like that, things that we wore 25 years ago. Things, the styles change. And I think decorating is an ongoing process, no matter how big or small it is. I just think we all desire to keep it fresh. Okay. But we all desire to keep it fresh. So don't believe that. And I always say that that's something like a mantra on my blog. If you think you're done, you're just fooling yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, right, because it can become stagnant and it becomes boring if it's the same all the time. So even if you don't want to buy anything new, you can throw things around, mixing it from one room to another and get a whole new look.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think that
Kelly, do you have something else?
Well, it's maybe not so much of a myth, but kind of riffing off your, is it done?
Mm-hmm.
Don't think, how am I going to put this? Think about layering. That it just one rug or one pillow, think about adding lots and lots of layers. So it's not just one surface. You want to keep adding, you want to add more textures, you want to throw another rug on top of it and experiment with that sort of look. Because that is really what's going to give you a designer feel.
Mm-hmm. So in other words, you're ripping off of, if you think you're done, you're really not. So
exactly.
Take a look at things and see, like, what else could I edit or curate to make it even look better?
Right. So I guess the idea would be the misconception as well. You have a sofa and you have a rug and you have two tables and you've got two lamps. Like, you need some
boring, right?
Right.
Okay. Good.
Yeah,
I like that one. I have another one, and it has to do with white walls. And Kelly, you were talking about that white walls are boring, or, off-white walls are boring. They are not boring.
They're not boring.
No. They're a wonderful backdrop for everything else you have in your home.
Yeah, I think that's right. And art galleries, they have white walls.
That's exactly right. And I think there's something, I don't know the exact number, but 35,000 comes to mind, that there's that many colors of white. So how could that be boring?
Oh, yeah. And you know what? If you just had white walls and you had nothing in your room, well, that could be boring, right? But the point is that you need to listen to decorating tips and tricks and read magazines and get on Pinterest and explore and be brave in your decorating and make it interesting. And that is just going to let your other items shine.
Actually, that's how I think of white walls, Kelly. They are just a foil for everything I put in it. And they really make everything else stand out, and they recede back. Now, you said they're coming forward, but you don't see the white. You're just talking about as far as making how your room looks as far as its dimensions. But I also think that they're just a wonderful backdrop for every single beautiful thing you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think we get this idea that there's all these rules there that really are not there. For example, in your dining room, I think we were all taught your dining room has to have a dining room table, It has to have chairs that match the dining room table. And then it has to have a china cabinet that matches your dining room table. And now you don't have to have a china cabinet if you don't want one. You can have a buffet. You can have nothing in there against the wall.
And you can paint it like I did. It doesn't have to match.
Right. And then your chairs don't have to match the table. In fact, I think it looks better if they don't. Your table doesn't have to match the china cabinet. I think it looks better if they don't. So many things that...
Go ahead.
Anita. I'm just, the point is, don't be afraid to go off road.
And Anita, my chairs don't even match each other.
Well, sure. And especially
I have a bench, 2 chairs and 2 head chairs, all different.
Well, and I have the bench as well. So I have a bench on one side, chairs on the other side. And another table, I have 2 sets of chairs that don't match a table that has just 4 chairs. So yeah, and I've seen tables done where each chair is different.
Oh, I love that look. I love that look so much. And they don't even have to be redone, that's what I love about them.
Let's go one step further. Do you even have to use your dining room as a dining room?
No, I've seen dining rooms look like libraries.
Right.
Yeah.
We talked
or you
about
could make it a study.
Brave, I believe.
Yeah, you can use it however you want. I think there did used to be a lot of rules that now they're just not there.
If you need an extra bedroom, if it's not out in the open, make it a bedroom.
Well, you can put a curtain there. You could put barn doors there. There's so many ways you could close it off if you needed to.
But you're right. Your furniture does not have to come in a set. Actually, that's boring.
Well, and we have a study as you come in the room, and I had them go ahead and put a full bathroom downstairs in our house and a closet off of our study in case it ever had to be used as a bedroom. And I do have sliding French doors there. I mean, they're hung like barn doors, but they're actually antique French doors, but the glass is wavy. But I thought, well, if my mom or somebody ever had to live here, we could use that. And I would just put the bed right under the bookcase and then use the bookcase, which is built in as a headboard. So, that's another thing that you could do just a little bit differently.
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Since I was talking about sort of spatial feeling with the colors of the walls, also you have to think about spatial relations with the size of the room. I think there is a misconception that if you have a small room, then you have to have small furniture. But if you have small furniture, it just looks like you have small furniture and you have a dollhouse. And it's not going to make the room feel bigger because you have little furniture in it. I think it's probably not going to be as comfortable. It's better to have big furniture, regular sized furniture, or even oversized furniture in a small room. It's actually going to make the room
less of it.
And less of it. Like we always have said, you know, less is more, bigger is better. In a small room, that should be underlined and highlighted because that is really the case. It's better if you have a small bedroom rather than putting in a little twin bed or something like that, or a little, what's the one in between, not queen, but a double. Put in a queen. If you can get in a king, put in a king and put a large armoire. You know, it'll give you more storage than a regular dresser. You know, it'll bring your eye up. So if you have a small room, please don't feel like you need to put tiny little sized miniature furniture in there.
I think that's such a good point because I think that's what people tend to do. They think, oh, this room is going to be too small for a queen bed. As long as you can walk around it, it's not too small.
Yeah. And it does. I noticed one room in my house, I think it had a lot of leggy furniture in it. And when I took a picture of it, somebody said, this looks like a dollhouse. Is this a real room?
Oh.
Because all the furniture in the room looked a little too delicate. And I looked at the picture and I thought, you're right. It does. It looks off. So I put some weightier furniture in that room.
And like what you're always saying, Anita, is take pictures. They'll tell you all kinds of things.
Oh, you know what? That is one of the best tips because even though I do take pictures all the time, I mean, usually we're taking the picture for the blogs and whatnot. We're taking the finished picture. So, you know, if you've really worked on it and you've thought about it a lot, now I'm taking pictures because Anita has said that all as I go along, and it really does make it quite obvious what needs to be done.
Get out that smartphone, right? Get
out
your smartphone.
All the time.
Here's an overarching. People think that decorating rules, they're made so you follow them. No. I think there's a lot of decorating rules that are great guidelines, really good guidelines, but they don't have their suggestions. They don't need to be followed. It's not like the decorating police are going to arrest you. So if you are breaking a decorating rule, you know, and your room looks lovely, well, good for you. Absolutely.
Yeah, because everybody's room is just like every person. Your room is different. It has a different shape. You have different light and all these things. So, you know, you need to try and experiment. And there really are, you know, there were always rules, but there are really supposedly not any rules anymore. As Yvonne said, think about them as guidelines and try things. And here's something to try. There's a misconception about not mixing patterns and prints, you know, a solid and one print and whatnot. You know, mix it all up. It's sometimes you might think, if you wrote that down on paper, you're like, that's not going to look good. But if you get swatches and you give it a whirl, it might just give the life that your room needs. It might give that designer look. It might really give it a little bit of an edge that will make your room spectacular, particularly if you've got the white walls. Mixing patterns and prints could be great.
And, you know, I think you probably have more patterns and prints than you think. Because I was thinking, well, I don't really have a lot like in my living room. And I started counting. I was surprised.
Right.
I have much more than I thought. Yes. It's just that they're neutral. So that really helps.
Right.
Yeah. And I think if everything matches a little too much, it looks a little too decorated.
It's too staid.
No, you know what that looks like? That doesn't look designer. That looks like, you know, like model home.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which I used to think, oh, if my house looked like a model home or a house in a catalog, that's good. And now I think, well, I want it to look a little more lived in and a little more
well, and you have
comfortable.
you have such a distinct style, Anita. You have honed and curated that style, and you want that to shine.
But that's safe decorating too. And I know I can't remember the number episode we talked about being brave, but having it kind of look like a model home, it's pretty safe decorating.
Yes.
You don't necessarily always want to be in fact, I think most of the time you don't really want to be on the safe side. You want to have that little edge. You want to have that special thing going on.
If your
house really sets
looks
it apart.
Like everyone else's house, if your house looks like a model home, I feel like there's nothing to really give it personality. I want someone to walk in your home and say, wow, this really looks like you. It's beautiful. It's unique. And you want people to go in and remember that, wow, look how she did that so different, how she used this piece of artwork or how she had her furniture arranged. It was really interesting. You really wanted to I like people to come in and get excited about seeing something different.
That's a very good point. I have another one, and it's you should stick to one style.
Oh,
we're always seeing, and I even wrote a post on how to find your style, but in it I said, most of us don't have one style. And if you do, you really need to reconsider it because that's boring.
Well, unless it's a style that you curated, cultivated, and it's your own look.
Well,
I think that's fine.
I'm talking more like, do you have all farmhouse or all
like an off the shelf style. Like here you go.
Yes,
here's room in a box. Farmhouse. Here's room in a box. Mid-century mall.
Room in a box.
There you go.
I think the beauty, and we talked about it in episode, let me think, 139. That the beauty is in that mix. We were talking about how to mix traditional furnishing and decor with contemporary.
Yeah. So do you remember go ahead.
That's okay. Go right ahead.
But do you remember the Garanimals?
Sure. Yes.
So they're the Garanimals. They had these kids' clothes. And if you found a top with a dinosaur and a bottom with a dinosaur.
Were they just kids' clothes? Because I think I dated someone that wore Garanimals.
You knew somebody?
Maybe his mom kept buying him Garanimals.
Yeah, or if the top had a bunny and the pants had a bunny, then you knew that those two pieces would work together.
Although sometimes I wish they had Garanimals for my husband. Bobby, if left to his own devices, would wear everything brown. And I just said to him, I usually don't say too much, but I said to him at one time, you may not wear everything brown because he has brown hair, from your head to your foot. But yes. Anyway, we do not want houses that look like you got them at whoever sold Garanimals.
Yeah, you don't want your house Garanimaled. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of our decor words, Garanimaled.
Right. Oh, it's so funny.
Like cross-holidation. You just thought up a new word.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't hear it much anymore, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't
How
know.
about
that
this
Sears?
one?
Maybe. I don't know who sold those.
Oh, it might have been.
I've got another one. How about this one, girls? Somebody says, I can't display my collections.
Of course you can.
Don't
have that
they're too
misconception.
tchotchke-ish.
Well, of course you can, but boy, be careful about it because it depending on how big your collection is, it can overtake a room.
Well, here's the thing. You can, and I mean, let's take Hummels. If you love Hummels, put a Hummel in a vignette or put 3 that go together during a special time together in something and rotate them. Or if you like those little those little angel babies or something, I know people collect, or pictures or whatever it is, you don't need your whole collection out.
If it's large, right? Because I collect dishes, and what I did, and it was hard for me to do it at first, but I finally said, I don't need all these dishes. I can't display them all. So I cannot tell you how many dishes I sold. I decided I'm going to keep the best ones, and the rest of them are going to go to new homes. Let somebody else enjoy them, because how many, you can only use so much anyway. You can only display so many.
I have a family member that has Yadro, which is, they're very expensive figurines. And they are so beautifully made. They're gorgeous. Now, they're really not my thing, but there's one that I love. I think it's called 17, and it's this beautiful girl. And I'm thinking, oh, like on a dresser, that would look so pretty, even though it's, not my style. But she has a curio cabinet just stuffed full of them. You can't enjoy any
you probably
of
can't
them.
even enjoy them, right?
And just think how much money was spent on those. That's a lot of money.
Well, yeah, a lot of them she got for gifts because that was like her thing. But what I'm saying is you can enjoy, and you probably will enjoy them more if you just put one or two or three in with another vignette somewhere, or like something small on your nightstand that's and you can change them out. We say, don't have a lot of tchotchkes, but, maybe one put somewhere would be very nice. And then, a couple weeks later, switch it out so you can enjoy and concentrate on and look at all of them one at a time to enjoy them more.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
Because I'm
That's
sure
a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because you're really showcasing in that. And if it's really special to you, then you have the time to look at it and or group them in maybe one in, if you want to put more out in different rooms, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, having them all sort of smushed in a cabinet, you can't really enjoy them.
No, it's just visual overload.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And if they're all the same colors, then they begin to look like a big glob.
And yes, Yadros happen to be, if we're talking about something like that, they're basically the same colors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So I think that's an excellent point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we stripped away a lot of the misconceptions today. I'm sure there are more. And as we go along, but I think we did a good job today. If anybody has any misconceptions or questions about them, just email us or call us and let us know.
I'd love that. That's a good idea.
And we're just on that same sort of note, I'm sure in the early part of the new year, we'll be doing a reader's question episode, which tend to be pretty popular. So we love getting your questions and being able to answer them on air. So
and your tips.
And your tips. So if you have any questions or tips that you want to share, get them in now. And so we can get them on the roster for the next episode.
Yes. And remember, we are so thankful for you. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. We're so glad that you're along for the ride with us. Enjoy our special treat for you as we provide these special episodes over the Christmas season. And we will be back live, or sort of live, in the new year.
I always feel
remember. Not exactly live, but sort of. Close enough. So remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey, everybody. We want to thank you so much for listening to Decorating Tips and Tricks. And we want to make it even easier for you to listen. And it's easier if you subscribe. You just click the subscribe button on our website, www.decoratingtipsandtricks.com. Or you can subscribe through Apple Podcast or any of your favorite podcast listeners. When you subscribe, DTT comes free right to you 3 days a week. So until next time.